It's 5:30 in the morning the next day. Last night I ended up going exactly 26 miles. Did a marathon. My body was not ready for it, and I felt like shit. I was hiking with Base, Blister, and the Austrian throughout yesterday, and camped together, and we were all just exhausted. There weren't great places to set up camp, so we set up camp on like the lumpy ground. Like we couldn't find a flat spot, and I believe they all had inflatable pads, but since I had a foam pad, I just couldn't get comfortable last night. Everything was just like, every position was just awkward because there'd be like some random lump in my back or something, which I knew it would happen, but we were so exhausted and I just wanted to be horizontal. Then the next issue was the cactus. I got up to go to the bathroom, and after I was coming back, I was trying to shake my flip-flops off to then get in my bed, and I got one half off, lost my balance a little bit, stepped down, stepped on a cactus. So I had several cactus needles lodged into my foot. Like screamed, I wobbled, stepped down again onto the bed, got my flip-flop off, and then I just stepped on the needles and pushed them further into my foot and screamed again. Quickly got off that foot, kneeled down. Foot was full of needles. I picked the big ones out, which was awful, and my foot was bleeding, and there were still several of the tiny ones in there. Base came over with some tweezers and helped pull them off or out. They were in like, it was a really awkward angle for me to get at them, so he got like the last bits of them off for me. That kind of sucked. And then it turns out my flip-flops are full of cactus needles too, of course. So there were a couple in my other foot, which I'm not sure how. Maybe I dropped some on my mat and then stepped on them with my other foot, and that sucked. But I got them all out. I'm walking now. Doesn't feel like there's any more needles in my foot, but I do not recommend stepping on a cactus with your bare foot. I had no idea. I set up like 10 inches from a cactus. I set up in the dark, but this is a small shrubby like cactus, like no more than 4 inches tall, and stepped on it. One additional issue I had were 2 very large blisters. I think this is because I did get new socks and Grants, and those were the new socks. I didn't wash them beforehand. I think they were a little bit more slippery because they were just like fresh and soft, perhaps. I'm wearing the new shoes, which are great, but like, I don't really know how. It's on the side of my big toe, on the inside, and then one that's like kind of between that big toe and the next toe, like on the ball of my foot. I mean, I think that if I didn't push myself the miles that I did yesterday, it would have been fine. Like if I took shoes off breaks a little bit more frequently, because I was just trying to keep up with people and I had less breaks, like longer miles between. I tried to do like 4 to 6 miles. I think I did a few that were more like 7-ish miles. Either way, they both got really big. I popped them both last night, drained them. Oh man, they were sensitive. But turns out overnight They healed up and refilled. Like, no, I wanted them to be drained for the morning because I actually have 7 miles to go before 8 a.m. and the forest closes. I did get word that Forest Service, if they catch you trying to walk out, they're actually just going to give you a ride and shuttle you out. But I hope I can just make it out without that being an issue. I woke up at 5 a.m. so I think that should be enough time for me. Except these blisters hurt. Well, I repopped the blisters, put a band-aid over them, put fresh socks on. Now it's squeezing my big toe and it hurts. So I'm walking a little slow, but I think that in a bit it'll warm up and won't be an issue. The sun is coming up. Yay! I have 2 hours to go 5.5 miles. Let's go! Also, yesterday I did something stupid. After taking a break, I started walking southbound on the trail, having no idea. I didn't get too far. That's when I ran into base, and I was like, "Why are you coming south?" Thinking I was heading north. Felt like such a dummy. I don't recall actually doing that in any of my previous hikes. It was also a really hot day out. 3 more miles to go in 1 hour. This is it. I'm at the edge. Made it. With 10 minutes to spare. And I'm not breaking any rules. To get water down in long trail switchbacks way down there with a bunch of cliffs. And there's a cow up there. This blister in here was tiny last night. Now it's like huge in between my toes. And then this one, I popped a second time and now it's big again. This isn't going great. So, Blister, the Austrian, and Bays, who have been hiking with, and I ended up taking a 5.5 hour nap/rest at the water just outside of the forest boundary. And we're just so exhausted. We went to bed really late, we got up really early, had a poor night's sleep, and also exhausted ourselves from yesterday. And like the scramble to get out in the morning. But surprisingly, Slowpoke and Monk showed up, which is really exciting to see those two faces again. We also have bad news that there's a fire near Pagosa Springs, and it's potential that the trail may be closed or the town may be evacuated. I don't have all the info yet because I'm still out in the middle of the woods. But that's concerning. And the thought was to go up to Chama and then head the rest of the way up from, Chama, Pagosa Springs is next, and so on and so forth. But then I'm also hearing that the whole southern half of Colorado's national forests may be closing as well because of fires, or as preventative to prevent fires. So I have no idea what the plan is. Maybe I'll head up halfway up to Colorado and then continue north and then flip back down and finish this. Or, I don't know. There's a lot of unknowns, which is not great. Also, today is miserably hot out. Talk about a bag of bones. Jeez. It sounds like Colorado is getting one hell of a big snowstorm today. Basically across the entire state. And it doesn't sound so great. If I jump up ahead, that's a lot of snow. I'm not sure what to do. I think we're supposed to be able to get a view of Colorado back there, But off in the distance, that looks like some heavy smoke between us and me and the mountains right now. Not a good sign. This is a pretty impressive lookout view.